Most paychecks do not disappear because a person is reckless. They disappear because money arrives without a sequence. The account gets bigger. Relief shows up. A few normal purchases happen. A bill clears. One convenience choice slides through. A transfer gets postponed. By the second week, the paycheck feels much smaller than it looked on day one. That is why a payday routine matters. It gives new money a quiet order before life starts speaking over it. Do not start payday with spending. Start payday with placement. The first job of income is not to feel exciting. It is to become useful. Think of the paycheck as a group of workers walking into a room. If nobody gives them a job, they drift toward the loudest request. If you place them early, the room gets calmer. Bills stop feeling random. Weekly spending stops pretending to be limitless. Savings stops waiting for leftovers. The first move is to cover the next fixed obligations. Rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, childcare, transit passes. Anything with a date should get its place before flexible money starts negotiating. This is not because fixed costs are more interesting. It is because they become more expensive when they are ignored. Payday should remove known pressure first. The second move is to refill the weekly living lane. Groceries, fuel, lunches, household basics, small family needs. The lane should be real, not heroic. If the lane is too thin, the week will borrow from the future. If the lane is clear, daily life stops raiding the bill money. A paycheck routine works best when ordinary life has enough oxygen. A budget without oxygen creates rebellion. The third move is to pay your future before the week gets noisy. This is where savings, buffer money, sinking funds, and planned transfers belong. Do not wait to see what remains at the end. The end of the pay cycle is where good intentions usually get tired. If the future matters, it needs to be funded while the paycheck is still fresh. That does not mean the transfer must be huge. It means the transfer must happen early enough to be real. Small money moved on purpose beats hopeful money left exposed. The fourth move is to define your guilt-free lane. This is where many routines collapse. People cover bills. They move one transfer. Then they pretend they have no desire for the rest of the pay period. That is not true. You will want a coffee, a dinner out, a small household upgrade, a treat after a long day. The routine gets stronger when enjoyment has a lane instead of sneaking through the cracks. The fifth move is to reduce one spending trigger before it appears. If late workdays create delivery spending, place an easier dinner option in the fridge now. If errands create store drift, group the stops before the weekend gets scattered. If payday energy turns into online browsing, put the phone face down and move the transfer first. If social plans become expensive when they are unplanned, give them a number while the week is still quiet. A payday routine should not only sort money, it should also remove one expensive surprise from the next 7 days. This routine is easier if the order never changes. Fixed obligations first. Weekly lanes second. Future money third. Enjoyment lane fourth. Trigger prevention fifth. The exact percentages can change. The order should stay stable. Stability matters because income already arrives with enough emotion attached to it. A stable order keeps relief from turning into drift. People often ask whether they should do this on the exact payday or the next morning. Either is fine. The real rule is before the money starts wandering. If payday lands during a busy workday, do the routine that evening. If direct deposit hits overnight, do the routine with morning coffee. Just do not let 3 or 4 unplanned transactions happen first. Those early yes tend to become the tone of the whole cycle. The routine should also match your pay rhythm. If you are paid every 2 weeks, use one paycheck to prepare the near weeks and the other to reinforce the longer horizon. If you are paid weekly, the lane can be tighter and more frequent. If income is irregular, the same order still works. You simply assign a share of every payment instead of waiting for an ideal month to appear. The principle does not change. New money needs jobs before old habits volunteer it away. A good payday routine protects against false permission. A larger balance can make a person feel rich for one afternoon. That feeling is understandable. It is also temporary. The balance may include next week's groceries, next month's insurance, and one transfer your future self needs. Treating all of it as free money is how an ordinary paycheck becomes mysterious by mid-cycle. A routine keeps the balance honest. It separates what is spendable today from what is already spoken for. Use visible categories, even if the tool is simple. A tray, a short note, a few lines in an app. A white envelope system without labels in the imagery and with very plain names in real life. Complexity is not the goal. Repetition is the goal. If the system takes too long, it will be skipped exactly when life gets busy. Payday organization should feel like setting the week on the counter, not opening a courtroom. Couples can use the same sequence without turning the routine into blame. Start with what is already committed. Then ask what kind of week is coming. Then assign the living lane. Then move future money. Then decide what is flexible. The conversation stays calmer when the order is about jobs, not judgment. Money arguments often shrink when both people can see the same room and the same next 7 days. There are a few payday mistakes that quietly undo good income. The first is moving nothing to the future until the end. The second is making the fun lane invisible and then pretending the later spending was a surprise. The third is using one big bill-free payday as proof that the money is suddenly loose. The fourth is doing a perfect routine once and then improvising for the next 3 cycles. The routine only works when it becomes ordinary. Another mistake is trying to optimize everything at once. One perfect chart will not save a disorganized week. One stable sequence usually will. If you do not yet know exact percentages, start with exact order. If you do not yet know the ideal fund number, create a small lane and learn from it. If you do not yet know how much buffer is enough, begin by moving something on every pay cycle. Clarity grows faster when the routine already exists. Watch what payday changes emotionally. Do you feel urgency to reward yourself? Do you feel pressure to catch up? Do you feel tempted to delay money admin because the balance looks temporarily healthy? Those feelings are not failures. They are signals. The routine is there to protect decisions from their warmest moment. Once the order is set, the feelings can calm down without running the whole cycle. The most useful payday question is simple. What should this paycheck still be doing for me 10 days from now? Paying rent? Covering groceries? Funding a buffer? Keeping one future bill from becoming a problem? If the answer is visible on payday, the money has direction. If the answer is vague, the cycle will probably become expensive. Picture the paycheck entering a quiet home instead of a noisy mall. One part goes to the shelf that is already reserved. One part goes to the kitchen lane that keeps the week working. One part walks upstairs into the future. One part stays available for normal enjoyment. One part removes the next predictable leak before it forms. Nothing dramatic happens. That is the point. A good payday routine is calm enough to repeat. Repeated calm is what makes a paycheck last longer than the first feeling it creates. One more reason to do the routine early is that payday choices tend to be sticky. The first few transactions after income arrives often become the story of the pay cycle. If the first action is a transfer, the rest of the week is working around structure. If the first action is drift, the rest of the week is recovering from drift. That is why the first 15 minutes matter more than most people think. Keep one small buffer rule attached to payday. If the checking account has been running too close to zero, use payday to rebuild breathing room before you expand lifestyle spending. A buffer is not glamorous. It is what keeps one utility bill, one pharmacy stop, or one school request from turning into stress. Paydays feel better when they are not forced to fix the same old shortage every single time. The routine can also make subscriptions less slippery. Payday is the right time to ask whether any recurring charge is taking a weekly lane job it does not deserve. A service that sounded small on sign-up day may now be standing in the place where groceries, savings, or debt progress should be. You do not need a long audit every time. One recurring charge question on payday is enough. If money is tight, shrink the number of live priorities instead of spreading every paycheck thinly across too many hopes. Protect what keeps life functioning. Keep one future move alive. Keep one enjoyment lane honest. Then build again next cycle. A realistic payday routine is stronger than an ambitious one that needs perfect behavior.